back again to America's Elite Businesses, up close and personal. I'm your host, Chris Jones, and well, we have a very unique podcast today. We all know we're coming from the big pause. Businesses had to shut down. They had to regroup. They had to rethink their strategies coming past the COVID here. Well, I've got a great guy with me, a great business. He's kind of refined a few things, but he's been doing good things the entire time. We've got John from the Inspectagator. We are happy to have you here, John. And just as I talked about before, there's a lot of new things that you've implemented. I mean, every business has new guidelines, new strategies. But you said, Chris, right before we started talking, you know, I was doing all this beforehand, so this is kind of easy for us. If we can, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
We've been doing inspections since 1998, so this is 22nd year now. So we've had a lot of time to practice, you know. And this was actually a good adjustment for us. It enabled us to refine some things we needed to refine, you know, work on some of the technical things, some of the small specific things that you just never have time for. So it's actually been a really good adjustment.
Let me ask you a question here real quick. Home inspections. We want to clarify that for all our visual and our listeners here. Inspectagator home inspections, which is so important. If you've ever had an opportunity to buy a home, you need to know what the goods are, and of course, as a seller, you want to make sure you're giving them the product that they've jumped into the process for here. But do you think some of the companies now that are having to really refine themselves have kind of fallen aside here? You said this is second nature for you guys, and we're going to discuss some of the things. Nice patch here. They do things differently than everybody else. But do you think some of the companies that really weren't watching their P's and Q's are struggling right now?
Plus, there's been a trend away from the single guy operations. Okay, that we have seen prior to the whole pandemic stuff. So besides that, you throw the whole pandemic thing in there, and it's made it even more difficult for single operator guys. We came from there. Okay, so I have nothing against them. Right. Okay, but. Now is the time where the multi-inspector firms are definitely gaining speed. You can definitely tell it. We've got more systems in place, and that's huge. Okay. You know, we've got a lot of systems in place. We have personnel. There's always somebody to answer the phone at 24/7, 365, all year long. So we've got all these things, and that definitely helps. I mean, without a doubt.
I think it shows that you've grown as a business here. I want to talk about this. When I think of home inspections, I'm a real simple dude. I think of a person going into a house and giving a report. Now, that's got to be a whole lot different than just that simple process here. Why don't you kind of talk about the beginning of the process and everything that has to happen in it? As you said, all the way down from phone calls being answered at any given time. And I definitely want to get into the sanitation. I think that's a very big issue right now. People still a little leery about new bodies going into their homes, but you've kind of fixed that as well too. So tell us about home inspection, A to Z, if you can.
In a nutshell, somebody calls in wherever that happens to source from. Okay, so somebody calls in, and we have Amanda the Adminigator, we have Jackie the Accountigator, we have Bobby Lynn the Promotigator. Okay.
I got the gator stuff. It's a good thing we have a Seminole present here today, but she'll humble him once we get off the camera. Go ahead.
The call will come in, the information is taken, it goes into a system. The system handles everything from there on out, notifies everybody, service agreements, all that fun stuff.
Everything is moving.
Everything is moving automatically.
That's great.
At that point. And it continues, the system continues to touch the clients, continues to touch the real estate agents for a long period of time, out to a year and even more. So those systems are in place. Then the inspectors, they are able to retrieve that information off their desktop, off their phone, however they prefer, where they're supposed to be, where they're supposed to go, all that information. They all carry their own tools and so forth. So nobody ever has to come into the office, which is nice. Right. That helps
get it moving a little quicker than it should be,
and supports that social distancing like automatically by default.
And we're going to definitely talk about that as well too, because this is a new world for right now, you know, until things become normal again. But we're especially businesses. I mean, you know, society is doing what they want to do. I mean, some wear masks, some don't. But as businesses, we have responsibilities. We're governed, we're rules, we're guidelined. COVID-19, what has it done for your business, and what are you doing differently right now?
Yeah, we're maintaining the social distance thing. We have notifications that go out via email. They're talked about on the phone when somebody calls in, etc. Guys have masks, gloves. We no longer, what we've always done up to the pandemic is print and review the report right there with the client, which is nice. That differentiates us.
Can't do it in nobody anymore.
Nobody does that anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
And you know what? Like, I'm old school. I like to touch it, feel it. You know, when I read a book, I like the book.
I know.
So I prefer that. The report, you go over the report, you're able to walk over here, look at this, do those kind of things. The whole pandemic is
changing.
Yeah, put a kibosh to that for the meantime anyway. So now we maintain that distance. The guys will go over major components that are issues, right? You know, from a distance and talk about those. And then the reports are uploaded to the system. The system notifies the client. The client's able to download everything, look at pictures, all that stuff. If they need a Zoom call, if they need a phone call, whatever, we can go over all those things with them at that point.
You know, I want to talk about how I met you. I was searching this area out. We have a few realtors that are doing active podcasts with us, and of course, home inspections is the beginning. It's like title insurance. We have to make sure everything is lined up before everything gets to play. And I spoke to one of your competition, and I told them about the podcast, and I wanted to get an elite place. Somebody had the ability to talk on camera and to truly show the strength of his business, and they referred me to you. I told you that story. Didn't know you from Adam, and I'm not saying there's any regrets here. I mean, no, there's no regrets. I'm just kidding. But what sets you apart? I mean, this is a question that every business gets asked, and we'd like to have something visible, something tangible that shows us that we are the best, or at least we're moving in the right direction every day. What sets you guys apart? Let's talk about this moment, even with COVID-19 and the changes. What sets you apart from your competition?
Nobody does what we do.
There you go. You told me that earlier. I like that.
Absolutely. The average time frame on site's an hour, hour and a half. Our average time frame is 4 to 4.5 hours. So the time frame and the complexity is illustrated right there. We get much more technical. Our guys are very educated. We've got a long list of certifications. So the time frame on site is a huge one. We've got a lot of toys.
Okay.
We've got a truck full of what we call boy toys.
Productive business toys.
Exactly.
I had to clarify that, folks. Go ahead.
Exactly. All of our inspections come with limited warranties. We provide the client with limited warranties. So when you know, it's nobody's fault when the dishwasher fails 2 months later.
Right.
Okay. In the past, we would have to say, you know, sorry, it's not our fault. Now we can say the good thing is because you use Inspectagator that we have provided you some limited warranties and there is some coverage.
Wow. So even though it's not really your fault, you're just investigating. You can refer them to something that'll kind of ease the experience on something not working in their house. I like that.
Right.
I have a question here, and I think as every business, we want to know who's the boss. Now, I've heard through the grapevine that the masks that you guys are wearing are Seminole masks. I'm a little, are they gator masks, Seminole masks? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out who's the boss in this operation. Usually a mask really shows the strength of the company. You chose a Seminole mask. Was there a reason for that? There's no truth to that, right?
No truth.
Okay, we're not going to edit that. Absolutely, that was absolutely perfect here. I want to talk, if we can, real quick, and this is important. You told me this prior to us meeting, sanitation. Now, that's a big, broad word, but I'm going to let you explain it. But you talked about how, Chris, after we come, after the people come, after everybody goes through the house, we sanitize that house from top to bottom so the owners, when they come back in, they know that everything is fine. Please explain that to me. That sounds like a real, as Trump would say, that's a real game breaker.
Awesome. I believe it is too. We've been a state licensed mold assessor for many, many years. We're also a state licensed mold remediator. We are a certified ozone technician and a certified biocide applicator. So pivoting into the sanitization side is not a real big twist.
That's great.
It's fairly natural and so timely. The products we use are totally green, so when they break down, you don't have any chemical residues, toxic residues, like a lot of places will. And using ozone and using fogging systems, the gaseous state enables it to go all over the place all over the house, getting in every little nook and cranny, something that a janitorial crew just couldn't do. You know, it's just impossible. So it permeates all over the house. It's safe, and they kill all kinds of bacteria, viruses, including the coronavirus.
Wow, that's great.
All microbials, a long list of stuff that it kills.
Well, I think, you know, it was about 6 weeks ago that we met, and we began our process as client, and then of course the big pause. And it's exciting to see that you guys are not only back where you were, but you're making bigger strides, and actually the things that you prepared for in the past are become second nature for you right now. And I think that's the difference. We're not going to get back to the mask question. I'll try to get that figured out here before we get off, though. But John, what is the game plan? I mean, you know, every business, when they were getting instructions that they'd be reopening, of course, we had to make sure that we could get the guidelines in order to at least open our doors. The doors are open now. You're starting to get busy like you used to. What's the game plan weekly and monthly to continue to grow and meet the standards of the government right now?
Diversification,
right.
Really in a nutshell. We were already very diverse, and we're even more diverse now in multiple respects, one of them being the sanitization.
I like that.
Yeah, that's helped quite a bit. So at this point, we're hiring. We hired somebody during the pandemic, maybe the day before it started, kind of thing, and we're still looking for people. We're so diverse. We do the home inspections. We do water intrusion inspections, you know, with the infrared and that kind of thing. We do mold testing. We do sewer scopes. We do pool leak detection. We do the sanitization. We've got a lot of stuff. I'm probably missing something.
I'm sure you'll find a way to tell me later, though. I'm sure. That's okay, John. Okay. We're covering as much as we can in our podcast. Jesse says we got 3 minutes left here. I still want to talk a little bit more about the sanitation. I mean, because that's kind of big right now. America's looking for some sort of breath of fresh air to resume, to continue, to get our businesses up. And the sanitation thing, as you said, is that something that also has a ramping up process, or do you feel like you've got everything in place now?
Yeah, we are good to go right now. We've got multiple machines. We've got multiple guys that are trained in the processes and on the technology, so we can respond pretty quick, and it's very affordable. Surprisingly affordable, you know, so we can come in into a house, depending on what you're doing, or there's multiple options. Okay, that's a longer conversation, but you've got multiple options. I'd be happy to have that conversation with somebody. Give us a call, right?
Oh, I'm going to give him a call later. There's no doubt. We'll finish this conversation tonight. But no, I'm just kidding for right now. Continue, please. I'd like to know a little bit more, like I said, from the sanitation standpoint. I want to know a little bit more about what are you looking to do here in the next couple of weeks? Like a can left there? Because you said it's like a mist that kind of, and it just falls where it needs to, almost like a pest control, where they leave the house and they do their thing. Is it similar to that, or how is it done?
Well, we've got a fogging machine, and it atomizes and aerosolizes the product that we put in it, right? So you can move through a house quickly, and it will fill up the whole volume, okay? The ozone machines produce O3. O3 is a gas, and it also permeates everything. So you're hitting all surfaces, all little tiny nooks and crannies. So, like I said, if you are a business, you can afford to do it over and over and over again on a regular basis. I think there's a really good market for that.
I don't know much about it, but it sounds, you know, a mist. That's what pest controls do. They put their mist and it finds all the tough places that, you know, a person can't get. John, we want to remind everybody that this podcast, you can catch it on our website at TitanMediaEntertainment.com, of course, our social media sites. And John, you have a really nice website, which I like, and we inherited your business link. I tried to put my picture all over, but it didn't work. Tell us about your website and what people can see on your site.
That's a great one. The site is Inspectagator.com, Inspectagator.com, all one word. We've got a lot of information on all the ancillary services that we talked about. We've got a lot of videos. We do a whole lot of on-site stuff because new construction is one of the big things we do. You know how new construction is booming now. The guys that are in charge of our new construction are licensed contractors. We've got workman's comp that a lot of companies don't have and cannot do these inspections. So they're highly trained, highly qualified. I go on site and do a whole lot of videos. I will also go on site on a normal home inspection, something older that's not brand new, and highlight the guys and how we do things and how we differentiate ourselves from everybody else and why it takes longer.
You know, I think here as we wrap this up here, every business is trying to motivate and inspire people to again look at their product, to look at it differently, to look at it as a much improved product. Before we part ways, and we thank John again from Inspectagator here, what would you tell the audience out there right now? We've given them a lot today. You know, we talked a little bit about your background. We talked about the things that you are doing on a daily basis that you were prepared to do long before the COVID-19 business is backing up and running. But what would you leave our audience with? Something simplistic to let them know that that you'll do a good job for these people and that your company is very unique.
Like I said, nobody does what we do. We invite you to compare us with anybody out there and then give us a call. Our website is full of information, our Facebook content, our YouTube content. There's a lot of information there. Please just go visit Inspectagator.com.
And we thank John very much, and we ask everybody, well, hopefully we'll be back here again soon. You guys have a great day.